Why do women sabotage when there's a good man in front of them?
The question can be applied equally across the genders, and we all. I know I've sabotaged potentially wonderful relationships before. Almost did it with the relationship that turned out to be my marriage. I almost screwed that up, and we have to look at
Why do you think you almost screwed it up?
We get into these patterns where we chase the wrong things. I can't take credit for that phrase. My wife, Audrey, loves that phrase, and I got addicted to it too, because it's such a great phrase. This idea that if you chase the wrong things, it might be fun sometimes, but until you start chasing the right things, that chasing the wrong things will always loop you back to where you started. And I got to the point as a single person where I realized this is not as fun as it. This has become a kind of drug of its own. And what am I really chasing here? Does it leave me feeling better at the end of it? Does it leave me feeling more anxious? In my case, it actually left me feeling more anxious. It left me feeling worse about myself. And I think in some ways the longer we take to find our person, I don't believe in the one, but I do believe in our person. This is a very different thing. But the longer we take, I think some of us, we have to now justify all the people we said no to. Because if I'm going to go for this person, then why did I say no to those people? They were great in these ways too. And so we're chasing this idea we have in our mind of something instead of being present with who is in front of us and what's actually unfolding in front of us. What I wasn't paying attention to at the beginning of meeting my wife was that I felt like I was home. And that's a subtly different feeling. I felt like I was home. I could truly be myself. I felt genuinely accepted and not judged. And it was a kind of an unfamiliar feeling. I don't know that I was fully ready for that feeling.
Almost felt unsafe because it was so safe.
Yeah, it felt unsafe. We had an argument at the beginning of our relationship where we weren't even in a relationship yet, I don't think. But we had an argument where she started talking about some other guy.
Uh-oh.
And it got under my skin. And then I was an ass about it. I was not.
You weren't even committed yet.
Huh?
You weren't even in a committed relationship.
Were we?
Oh, you were. You were, she said. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we were. But she started talking about someone, and it got my ego flared up. My ego flared up, and then I started being really cold and quiet. I didn't say anything for ages, and she was the one making all the conversation. And at a certain point, she was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Nothing." Because what am I going to tell her? I'm not going to tell her at this early stage that I got insecure about a guy I don't even know. And that somehow on some deep level has made me feel threatened. And how now I feel like I could get hurt in this. And it's robbed me of some kind of power that I must have been holding on. I'm not going to tell you all of that. Because now you have even more potential to hurt me. I'm not going to give you all of that now. I once had a relationship where I told someone, I debated all night whether to tell an insecurity that I was feeling.
Really?
And then I did at the end of the night. This was a different relationship. At the end of the night, I spoke an insecurity. And she looked at me and she said, I find that, I went, what? She goes, I just didn't know that you felt like that. I find that unattractive.
Oh.
It was one of the most horrendous.
Yeah.
Like,
it's your biggest fear.
yeah, I was like, for me, I didn't want to say it. I wasn't going to say it. So then I was like, why did I say it? Brene Brown. Like,
vulnerability is strength.
this doesn't work for men. Be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I find that unattractive. That's why you have so many f***ed up guys in the world now, and they follow other f***ed up guys. And they're all in their little circle of doing everything wrong because they got hurt. Mm-hmm. They're hurt. They're just hurt people who have decided that the best way to deal with that hurt is to armor up and to hate everyone and to hate women and think that you're all against us. And look, I had a little moment in that moment where I was like, never doing that again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the last time I ever do that. And then I met Audrey, and when when I felt insecure about this person, I was quiet and passive, and then passive aggressive and quiet, and she eventually like wringed it out of me because she's too perceptive, and nothing gets by this woman, nothing. And I eventually, after her having to drag it out of me, I eventually said it. And then I hated that I said it because I had that thought in my head. Well, there you go. And then, so she got it out of me, and then I went cold all over again. Because now I was like ashamed.
Really?
Why did I say that? Now she's going to think, I'm not that attractive guy. I'm not Mr. Alpha. I'm not blah, blah, blah. All of this is happening. It's not like I'm verbalizing this to myself, but this is what's happening. And I'm supposed to not seem threatened. I'm supposed to be bulletproof. I'm not supposed to get threatened by another person like that. And then I said that I was like, oh, I wish I hadn't said that because now you're going to think this. And she was like, what? She was like, oh my God, I love, firstly, it doesn't change how attracted I am to you at all. I'm so attracted to you, my God. And the fact that you told me that, it's just, I love it because I get to know, I know you better. I get to know you better. It doesn't change anything. It just, I love knowing you better. And if something's on your mind, I want you to share it with me because I want to be able to like talk, I want to share why you don't need to worry about that. We had to go through so much that day to get to that little moment. And in 100 other early dating phases with other people, that would have been the end of the relationship. That would have been it, because someone would have not got it out of me, and I would have never said anything, and I just would have held on to it, and it would have eroded the relationship. Or they get it out of me, but then I don't feel safe with that person from their reaction. And so I now back off, or, there's so many ways that moment can go wrong. And in this relationship, what was normally a moment where it would go wrong was a very healing moment for me. And she's had her own moments like that. And we chase these things that feel off.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.